Hello everybody! So today I'm going to be talking about misconceptions about self-harm and people who self-harm. First misconception. What? The first misconception is that only females self-harm, which is ridiculous. Self-harm can affect anyone, from any race, culture, religion, etc. It doesn't really discriminate on gender. There's a study that shows that 30 to 40% of people who self-harm are male. Excuse me. Misconception number 2 is that self-harm is a suicide attempt or a failed suicide attempt. While yes, people who self-harm can be suicidal, self-harm in and of itself is not suicidal. And actually a lot of times, people who self-harm don't want to commit suicide. They want to live, and they're using that as like a lifeline to hold on. And a lot of times they're using it as a coping mechanism. Instead of having positive coping mechanisms, they use self-harm to deal with negative emotions and negative thoughts. Misconception number 3, only teenagers self-harm. While it's true that a lot of teenagers do self-harm, that's mostly because a lot of mental illnesses kind of begin and develop when you're a teenager. But anyone can self-harm. Like I said before, any age, any race, any culture, any religion, anyone in the entire world could self-harm, could be struggling with self-harm. You know, I really didn't start self-harming until I was 19. And now I'm 20, and I'm still struggling with self-harm. And we can't discount the fact that there are a lot of people not in their teenage years who are self-harming. Misconception number 4. Or maybe the most annoying misconception to me is that all self-harm is attention seeking. This is completely false for a lot of people, and even if it is attention seeking, it can't be like discredited. You can't just say, oh, they're just attention seeking. Whatever, they're fine. Because if someone is doing something that drastic, self-harming to get attention, they're trying to tell you, hey, I need help, I have a problem, but they really don't know how to tell you. A lot of people, the way they self-harm, where they self-harm, they do it so that it's hidden, so that people can't tell, no one will find out. A lot of times people go to great lengths to hide self-harm. I know I went for like a year with no one knowing at all about it, and I was self-injuring quite a bit, like every day. And when people did find out about it, it wasn't really by my choice. They kind of just happened upon it. They saw something that I'd written, my parents saw something that I'd written, confronted me, and I almost lied about it, but then I was like, whatever. And I let them know, and it was really uncomfortable for a while, but now they can get me help, then they can give me the help that I need. I encourage all of you, if any of you are dealing with self-harm, to go tell someone. Tell a teacher, tell a friend, tell your parents, because someone will be able to get you help. You should probably, if you're going to tell anyone, you should probably tell your parents or a teacher, because they're going to be the ones who are actually going to get you the help that you need. Friends might not know what to do with it. They might not know what to do with the information. They can't really get you that much help. But at the same time, it's nice to have a friend to talk to be able to be open about self-harm and mental illness and what you're going through. It's nice to have someone to talk to. Like I'm talking to you. But in the long run, eventually you're probably going to need to tell someone so that you can get help. What number was that? 4? Misconception number 5. People who self-harm only cut themselves. I might make another video going a little deeper about this topic, because it's kind of a sensitive topic, because it could be really triggering. But cutting isn't the only thing that people do when they self-harm. There's a lot of different methods. People burn themselves, Scratching is considered self-harm. Biting, pulling out hair, all considered self-harm. A lot of times people will hit themselves, that's also self-harm. A lot of people might not know that they're self-harming or what they're doing is considered self-harm. Misconception number 6. Anyone who self-harms is emo. If you're talking about emotional, probably. But if you're talking about emo, like the subgroup, the culture of like emo, which is hard to describe. Don't know how to explain emo. You probably know what emo is. Probably. Don't know how to explain it, it's weird. How do you explain that? Not gothic, it's not gothic. It's like a mix between scene and gothic. What even is scene? Why do they call it scene? I don't know. I don't know! Anyway, whoop. Not everyone who self-harms is in this emo group of people. I know, I never was. I listened to, I don't know if you would even call it emo music. What is emo music? I listen to a lot of hardcore music. If that would be considered emo. I don't know. Evanescence? Is Evanescence emo? Evanescence is a good band. The emo trinity. The Trinity! Fall Out Boy, MCR, Panic at the Disco. They're not emo though. I don't know why people call them the emo trinity, because they're not emo. Whatever, I love all of them so much, especially MCR. Anyway, hello again everyone. I'm re-recording the last half of the video because of user error. This camera is new to me, video making is new to me, so I apologize. It's night now. My hair is slightly different, if you didn't notice. Anyway, I just had one misconception left. I went off on a little bit of a rant about what is emo. Misconception is that if you self-harm, you can just stop self-harming, which could be true for some people, as a lot of these misconceptions, but obviously not true for everyone. Some people, if you're new to self-harm, if you've just started self-harming, it might be pretty easy just to say, oh, this is bad, I should stop doing this and get better coping mechanism. Because of the chemical reactions in your brain, you can get addicted to self-harm. So it just becomes an addiction like any other addiction. That's not to say that you can't get help for self-harm. You definitely can. You can go to therapy. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, therapy just for yourself on your own, or family therapy. If the reason that you're self-harming is related to family issues, maybe it'll be beneficial to go with your family to a therapist. Also, a lot of times there is self-harm is just the symptom, and the real problem is a mental illness like depression or anxiety, etc. So you can try antidepressants if you want to go that route. I'll be making a video probably later on this channel about antidepressants, my experience with them, and maybe some misconceptions about them. I think I'm going to end this video now. So I'm going to end off with, if any of you are struggling with self-harm, definitely go get help. Go tell someone that you trust and help them help you. That's the end of this video. Bye guys! See you next time!